Look back on all those good times we once shared, and I must have been blind just to think I'd find someone new, one who'd love me better than you. Well, it may come as a surprise. Loneliness has opened my eyes. I tried every love I could find. Still I can't get you out of my mind. 'Cause there's no one in the world to hold. No one in the world's gonna move me. No one in the world can love me like you do, baby. Every time I'm with someone, loving you, yes, I wanna run. I wanna run back to your arms again. Ain't no one in the world loves me like you do. Are you happy now with your life? Well, for me, I'm breaking inside for something sure that I could not see. I had it all when you were with me, baby. No one in the world's gonna hold me. No one in the world can move me. No one in the world can love me like you do, baby. Every time I'm with someone, loving you and I wanna run back to your arms again. There's no one in the world loves me like you do. Please take me back. Please take me back. Oh, baby, I can't go on. I'm not happy. And my life without you. I'll do whatever it takes. I've got to get you back with me again. I realize I need you here in my
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday's edition of Tea Time with Bunky, where my special guest is the singing tax preparer. People like, I got one comment that said that's really what I think about when I think about taxes. You're right, but you need somebody that's going to make you laugh when you're about to cry when the government about to take all your money. So this is the person to go to. So before all of her introductions, I would like to thank all of my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers. You guys have been with me for almost a year now. It's been almost a year. And you have told a friend to tell a friend, and you guys have liked, shared, followed, subscribed. Please continue to do so. Make sure you comment. Make sure you comment so we can interact. Tea Time with Bunky is conversations. So make sure that we can interact, answer your questions, and spend time with you. There's one announcement that I like to announce. The guests will talk about this, but I would like to announce Liberty Soul Stage. You'll learn more about that. We'll be opening on May 21st, and it's free to enter, but donations are welcome. Donations are welcome. You can buy a ticket and get a meal April 21st or April 22nd. but it must be purchased in advance so they'll know what it is that you want to eat. So it's live music, fun, food. It's outside, but there is still a limit, but it's outside. So there's really no excuse. And it's located on 1864th North 52 Liberty, New York. So right now I'd like to introduce my guest, Miss Laura Garone. Wait a second. Let me enter you in. Let me take this off. Wait a second. Wait a second. Because it takes me a minute. Wait. Wait a minute. Take that off. Wait. I'm trying to take the music disclaimer off. Wait a second. Hi. There we go. Hi. There we go. Wait. It's Laura Garone. Probably like, she ain't got it together. Yes, I do, Laura. But I am, I'll find your name as we're talking. My friend, thank you. For those that didn't know, me and Laura talked about my original song. There we go. My original song was Copacabana by Barry Manilow. Because for some crazy reason, that song has been in my head for the last couple of days. And sometimes you just need something to bring you up. And Copacabana, for people that like Bunky listen to Barry Manilow. Yes, I listen to Barry Manilow. Love him. Love Lola. Love it. Got a bunch of his songs. So you would be surprised if you saw my library of music, which brings us to Miss Laura Garone. Hi.
How are you?
I am great. I would like for you to tell the people a little bit about yourself. Thank you for being on. Tell everybody a little bit about you. Not much, because we'll get into it.
Things that you might not know is that before I ever even met you, we grew up. I was born in Flushing, and we moved up here to Sundown when I was a year old. It was like a culture shock to my mom.
What's Sundown?
And then Sundown is up the mountain on 55. Going up, you go to Gramesville and go straight up the mountain on 55.
Oh,
so
God.
It's way up at the top of the mountain. And then when we left here, we moved to North Carolina when I was a kid, when I was like 13. And we lived in North Carolina for 8 years before I had my, at the very end, that's when I had my children before we moved back up here. But it was rough. I didn't know it, but we didn't have anything. But my mother always loved us so much, we didn't know.
And your mom, the wonderful woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but we didn't have anything. Everything we had was grown there. We had farm animals, and we had gardens, and we had everything that we heated. We heated with wood. We cooked on wood. We had to carry our own water because we didn't have any running water in the house. So we had to, in order to take a bath, you had to heat the water outside and then put it in the tub. And
this was down south.
Yeah, it was like living in this was in the 80s. I'm not talking about way back when either. I mean, this was in the 80s.
Okay.
And it was like something like Little House on the Prairie or something.
Love that show.
So when we came back here, my kids were small, and I didn't want to leave them with a babysitter for all day, every day. So I didn't work until my children went to school. Mm-hmm. And when Teresa turned 5, I started working at Sullivan Ark.
Which is where our paths cross.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and working at Sullivan Ark, I have to say, I don't want to say anything bad about Sullivan Ark.
Please don't.
No, I wouldn't say anything bad about them. I didn't do well with the politics that went along with it.
Then you would definitely not survive it. Yeah.
You
would definitely, right? You would not survive working in an agency than today, because you thought it was bad then.
Right.
And I said plural. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about plural, the agencies, a lot of it, everything, not even just those places.
Right. And it's
political.
It's not just Sullivan Ark. It's not just the place. Right. It's the system.
Yeah.
It's the system. So, but I have to say that I learned so much at Sullivan Ark. Like that's like kind of where I grew up, where I turned into this understanding adult, So I have to give a lot of credit to them. Do you know what I mean? To that job,
I totally know.
Specifically. And then when I left there, I didn't know what I was going to do. I took over my brother's cleaning company and I did that for a year or so. But I had been going to this tax preparer for years, and I always did my own taxes, but it was easier and quicker to have somebody e-file it. So I would do my own taxes to see what I was getting, and then I would go to him and he would e-file the return.
Okay, well,
And
wait, let's not
every
get
year
all
we got
into
the
it.
same answer. So I said,
Okay,
you
let's
know, if
not,
you ever need any help.
Laura, can you hear me? Let's not get into that
Yes.
yet. We're
Yes.
not getting into the tax thing yet.
Okay, all right.
Because I had a question.
Okay.
Your love for singing and soul music, did that come from the South? Oh, wait. You are the lead singer of a band, I didn't say that, called Southern Fried Soul.
Yes.
Southern Fried Soul. So did your love for soul music come from living in the South?
I'm assuming that that's where it all came from, because growing up, see, again, in the 80s, this was not way back when.
But
This
it
was
wasn't.
in the 80s. I was a teenager. And I
Right.
mean, I guess it is kind of way back when.
No, it's not, because I'm 80s. No, it's not. Well, I'm 70s.
But even then in the 80s, you know where I hung out when I was hanging in the places that I shouldn't be? Was at the juke joints. Like, they literally had juke joints.
Well, they had a juke joint here. Juke joint. Here, well, in Fallsburg in the 80s. You might not have known Meat Shack. They had a juke joint here.
Yeah, well, when I'm talking juke joints,
You
though,
were too
I'm
young.
talking, you travel into the woods and there's nothing for miles and miles, and then all of a sudden you have this big open field with a barn in it, and
Yeah,
it's got
okay.
40 cars outside, and you go in and it's just a bunch of people drinking and playing cards and dice. And
How old were you?
I
What is going on here? Like, how old were you?
started hanging out in those places when I was 16. I never did any of the drugs. I never
Okay.
I never drank or anything like that.
It
But
was everything else that drew you. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
and that's where it all started, because I really got into this music. I mean, the juke joints, boy, that was where the music was,
Right.
you know? And then the only other place you could do music there was in the churches. So I was singing, I was doing blues, I was doing R&B, I was doing gospel. I mean, this, and where we lived, it was all R&B, blues, and God. I mean, that's all you heard,
Right.
you know, like, and that's where I grew up. And boy, I love that music.
Okay, so that's where your love for, okay, that's where your
Yeah.
passion came from. Because I first started hearing you singing, like we talked about it at ARC. I just be like, there go Laura singing again. There she go. But it's like your voice. When I hear you sing, I know though that it's you.
Mm-hmm.
I hear, like, if I'm on Facebook or whatever and something come up and I hear the voice, I'd be like, that's Laura. Like, I look and it's you. And it's you. You sing at a lot of open mics.
Yes.
How do you know? Is there like a list, open mic, a special
Well,
open mic night, or like how does that work?
yeah, well, there are some Facebook pages that give you open mics, but usually I find out because people say, you know, there's an open mic over here, you know, because of the music and stuff. And
Right.
and those are really good. I like to go to the open mics because people always say, why do you do that? You're giving your music away for free and you shouldn't go to open mics. Open mics are awesome
Mhm.
because they allow anyone at any level, in any performing level, to be able to do whatever they want.
Mhm.
And most, I'm not going to say all, but most open mics are the people are very, they're very encouraging. Like, it doesn't matter if you're not good. It doesn't matter if you've just started to learn how to play an instrument. That's what it's there for. And that's why I like to go to the open mics. And not only for that, but then you meet other great musicians that you may be able to do something with at some point, you know.
And that's how your band came about, the Southern.
Yes.
I can't get over that name. I just where
So-
did that come from? Southern Fried Soul.
So we did a gig in, I think it was Phillipsport, and they asked us to give a description of our band. And Antoine, who is one of the guitarists in the band, he told them that we do, I don't know, such and such and this kind of music, and Laura gives a touch of that Southern fried soul music, like. And I said, "Oh, that's a really good name." So we just ran with it as the name of the band, you know.
It's crazy because, like I said, I would always hear you singing at work or singing. I had you singing an event, which we're not going into, but I had you singing an event. Your voice does not match you. Like if somebody had their eyes closed, right, and they just heard you singing, they would not know it was coming from you. They would.
Yeah, so maybe I should go on X Factor, huh?
What's X Factor?
X Factor is like
No, that's not the Nick Cannon.
like America's Got Talent, but they don't see you.
Oh.
You sing and they have their backs turned.
And
so they can't judge you on the way you look. They can only judge you on what you sound like. Yeah.
Do you come across that? Like, has anybody, well, you're everywhere. You're at all of these places singing all the time. So everybody know you. The local people, these local spots, they know you. And I guess they know Southern Fried Soul. Okay.
Right.
So before that, did you ever come up against any like discriminatory situations? Like people?
No. Down south, sometimes I would hear people say, "Wait a minute, that's a white girl."
Yeah. That's what I was saying without saying it. You know, that's what I was saying.
And up here, actually, when I came back from North Carolina and I was working at Sullivan Ark and I was living in Fallsburg and stuff, and I would hear people as I'm going by or walking from the store or whatever. There's that white girl that can sing. That's that white girl that can sing. That's they used to say that to me. Well, not to me, to each other, you know.
Right.
That's that white girl that can sing. And I mean, but to me, I don't think that's discriminatory. I think that's more, again, I look at where I grew up. Look at what I was surrounded by. This is what I grew up with, and that's what you learn, you know?
Right.
So I think it's just because people don't expect it, because you do. I mean, without the stereotypes, I'm not trying to make stereotypes, but there is a difference.
But there
is. There's a difference in mannerisms. There's a difference in just the way you portray yourself as an individual. A lot of times there are differences, and that's not to say that somebody can't be different than what you think and sound differently, that, you know, like me. But I don't think that I've never really had a problem with people discriminating against me for it, or, you know,
because music brings people together.
Yes.
And the way you sing, like, brings people together. I was watching
that's
a
my
couple,
goal.
and it works, because I looked at some of your videos, and you're not afraid to give them, like, "Oh, I made a mistake." You know, you get up there and sing you sing like Laura. You sing your heart out. You give it your all on that floor. Now, is there a difference between? No, well, before we go into karaoke or whatever, when did the band develop? Like, you play instruments. Like, I didn't put that on the flyer, except for you with that flute, which I love the flute. So I put the flute. So, like, you play instruments and things. So when did the group come together? Was it just like two people, then gradually went on to three? Like, how, or did you start off just playing your flute?
Well, it was by accident, actually. I was going to the open mics at Dutch's. This was 9 years ago, whenever it was. And I started going to the open mics over there, and it just kind of slowly developed into, let's hang out and get some music together, because the guitarist Steve Schwartz and Kenny Windheim is the bass player, and Billy Pascal, the drummer, and Antoine, they are all, I mean, Antoine Magliano, they are all awesome musicians. I mean, I would say they're probably out of my league. But they're so good.
Mhm.
And we just
They
slowed
are good.
I mean, they can play anything, they can do anything. So for me, that's really good because, like you were saying, I do the R&B, I do the like I was saying before, I do the R&B, I do gospel, I do blues, but really, I do anything. I
Yeah.
like jazz. I sing rock and roll. I sing country. I mean, I can switch up genres, and to have someone like Steve, Kenny, Antoine, and Billy, who every one of them can jump from one genre to the next and just tear it up. You
Mhm.
know, it's just wonderful. So yeah, slowly we just started getting together to do little things here and there, and then people started asking, like, where are you playing, what are you doing, and we just kind of fell
Oh,
in
well.
together, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I have to say, without them, I wouldn't have Southern Fried Soul. Like, people always say, oh, everybody follows you and people want to see what you're doing.
Yeah, that's why
Without them,
yeah,
I wouldn't have it. So
right. You're a team.
yes.
You know, we learned that at at Southern Arc. Teamwork. Yeah,
Absolutely.
teamwork makes the dream work. Um, Now I was gonna ask about karaoke. Um, Before you started open mic night, before you started going to those things, did it start off as karaoke? I've never
Well,
karaoke'd or anything like that, but I don't know how that is.
so I always went to karaoke places because it gave you a place that I wasn't in the music scene here. I did a lot of music down south, and I was in the music scene down there. But then when I got here, I was working, I had little kids. I wasn't really out there in the music scene. So the only music I really could get was whatever I played at home by myself,
Mhm.
or if I went to karaoke. So I would go to karaoke's and I would record. I have old videos of myself back singing karaoke at McCabe's in Liberty, you know.
Wow.
So
That's still open?
so yeah, I don't mind it. As a musician, I have to say a lot of musicians don't like karaoke because it's what they call canned music. So if you can perform it live, then you're good.
Mhm.
If you are using a backing track, it's just you have a backing track, you know. So a lot of musicians don't particularly care for it. I, on the other hand, think that karaoke is awesome if you're going to do karaoke. If you're going to entertain people and you want to do a show for a group of people, having a karaoke machine behind you and singing is just not professional. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
I don't
and I don't
sing.
mean that to down anyone. I mean, if you're going to do karaoke, that's one thing. But
Mhm.
if somebody says, I'm having a party and I need some music, do you want to perform?
Oh, yeah, that's a
Then
yeah,
you
that's a
you kind of want a band,
right.
you know?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's how I feel. That's just my own personal feelings. Not that I have anything against karaoke. I think it's
Right.
great, you know.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's great and it's lots of fun. So
Now, let's talk about okay, now you have your singing. Now we're going to gradually go into the tax thing. Now, how did you get into tax prep? Because like you said, you worked at ARC, you had
hmm
your brother's business, then you started going to Atkins.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so what I should have went to you this year. Go
So
ahead.
I was going to him to have my
Mhm,
tax return filed because it's a lot faster than paper filing.
mhm.
And I would say to him every year, see, I get the same answer you do. So if you ever need any help, let me know. And I left Sullivan Ark and I was working my brother's cleaning company. He sold it to me and I was using that and I was made pretty good money. I mean, you know, I could live off of it.
Mhm.
And I got a phone call from this tax preparer, Craig, that said, so you said that if I was ever interested that you might want to work for me. So I said, yeah, absolutely.
Well, how long have you been going to him before he
I
called
had
you?
been going to him then probably 6 or 7 years
Okay.
before that.
Okay.
And then he called me and he said, well, the reason I'm asking is because I'm not ready to retire yet, but it's going to happen. And when I retire, I have
Oh,
nobody to leave the
wow.
business to. So
Oh,
would you
wow.
like to come and work for me? You could train under me. You could get your EA license. You could, and then eventually, then you would just buy the book of business from me. So like that,
Now, what's the EA license?
that's an enrolled agent. So I get it. I'm an enrolled agent, which means that I had to take these special tests and things in order to pass, and I have to have um, 20, at least at the very minimum 24 hours of continuing ed every year,
Okay.
to stay on top of the laws and the rules and stuff. And they just hold you to a higher standard when you're a tax preparer if you're an EA. So
Okay.
you have to know your stuff a little better.
Okay.
And then that's what happened. I went to work for him. He didn't really, I mean, he only paid me enough to get back and forth to work the first 6 months or whatever. And all the money that I was making was going towards the down payment on the business. But
Okay.
was fine because I still had
Hello.
the cleaning
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
you know, and I was getting the training. And then the following year, I told him I needed a little bit more money in my pocket, not so much to go to the business. And then the next year I had the down payment pretty much paid off. And then when it was time for him to retire, I could buy the business. Like I had most of the money, the down payment already paid in.
So
And
wait a minute. The money, when he instead of paying you the full amount, he would take part of it, and so he was helping you
oh,
get this
absolutely.
business. That's what's up.
Absolutely. No, he was a great, he was wonderful.
Okay.
And he would pay me, but then most of that money would go towards the down payment. And then he trained me, and I went for my license. I got my license, and a few years after that, he was ready to almost retire. So he sold the business to me, and he worked under me for a few years.
He worked under you?
Yeah, he worked as a general contractor under me. So then it was my business, and he was doing tax returns for me.
So you were paying him?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow,
So
what a switch of roles.
he did it great. I mean, he was wonderful with the way he did it. I mean, the way that the loan was done, like the loan was all done through him. I didn't have to worry about, I mean, I definitely still paid interest and all that stuff,
Absolutely.
but he let me do it with him. I didn't have to go through a bank. I mean, everything was perfect. I mean, he without him, I wouldn't have it, you know, like that. It wouldn't have worked this way. But he wanted somebody to continue the business, and his son didn't want it, and his wife didn't want it. So he found me, and I ended up with the business, which is awesome.
You found each other. It was meant. It was meant. This thing was meant to happen.
Yes.
So you worked with him for how long before you owned the business? 6 years? No.
13 years.
13 years.
13 years, I think it was. Maybe 12, because this is like 17 now, and I probably had it for 6 years. Well, I actually started my business back in 2013, but he didn't start working under me until probably 2016.
Okay.
So
now what is it that, I mean, it says tax preparer. Some people will probably be like, oh, well, that's hello is basically what it says. But for people that do TurboTax and all that stuff like that, what is the difference between doing it yourself and going to a preparer? I know I didn't let you know that.
No, that's fine. So the difference is that there's not much of a difference except for the knowledge. So I have a program on my computer that you come to me and I punch your information in, and the program does the tax return. So it's the same idea when you go on TurboTax. You plug your information in and the program does the tax return. But lots of times the program is a computer. So the computer only does what it thinks it's supposed to do by what you put in it.
Right.
Lots of times the program doesn't do what it's supposed to, or doesn't do what should be done, because laws have changed or things are different, or okay, this is in here the right way, but you didn't connect it to this form. So now when you look at the tax return, it's wrong. But as a layman, I guess you would call it, as a layman doing your own tax return, you're not going to notice that that's off on the tax return. You're just going to take the word of the computer for it.
And then you end up owing. Then you
or getting a refund and having them chase you later, you know. But yeah, so people say that to me all the time. Well, I could do it on TurboTax and do it much cheaper. And you're absolutely right. Tax returns are not cheap. They're expensive. And if you feel comfortable enough, you should do that. If I was you and I was coming to somebody and they said to me, it's going to cost $275 to do your tax return, and you could do it on TurboTax for $50, and I felt like I was capable, then I would do that myself. I'm not, like, please, if you can do it yourself and you feel comfortable, then go ahead. Like, nobody's trying to force you, but you have to remember that you have to know the laws, you have to know the rules and the changes. These last 3 tax seasons, especially since COVID, I mean, there's so many changes, with the IRS and the stimulus checks and the advanced child tax credits. And, there's just so much to know that
it's worth go. I just wanted to ask that question because, like you said, some people think, oh, it's just cheaper. TurboTax is more than $50, just so you know.
Yeah.
And you end up like, I don't know if you told me to do this. Somebody told me to do this because I didn't do this on my own. This wasn't something I would have done automatically. To add money, have them take extra money out of my state so that I won't owe, like
Right.
the payroll deduction. And forever, I've been doing that, like a little extra, like take a little extra $5 out, So I'd rather get like $40 back from the state than owe.
Right.
Why end up owing? Crazy, because I did it myself. And like you said, all the laws have changed and everything. So I personally think that you come out better going to a tax preparer.
Yes, usually, yes.
I
mean, don't get me wrong.
done.
If you have yourself and a W-2, if that's it, it's you and your W-2, and you don't have any children, and you don't get earned income credit, and you don't have child care, and you don't have college, and it doesn't hurt you to do TurboTax because there's nothing. It's just you and your W-2.
It messed me up. I don't know what happened. I'm like, what?
You know
What's
what
going
it is?
on?
It's because of the way that they take the taxes out on an individual with no dependents. So lots of times they just don't take enough for the state. So you should always, if you're a single person with no dependents, I always suggest if you can afford it, have some extra taken out. That way you're just covered.
Is it better to file 0 dependents so they take more out?
Well, they will take more out, but it's not always better. It depends on each person's situation, really.
Okay, well, I'm getting ready to change it because let me tell you, I was told file 0 dependents so they take more. And my whole mindset was don't owe. So do it. And after this year, I'm like, oh no, we changing stuff. We changing. Next year will be totally different. I've learned. I just, so it's great that you're here for people that didn't file yet. Think about it. Go to somebody like Laura, and I have put the singing tax preparer. Have you ever? I'm sure you weren't singing while you were doing taxes, right? No. Must have been so.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, that's crazy, right? That's a crazy visual, but I don't know why I could just see somebody over there sweating while you're doing their taxes, sweating, and you see they're getting anxious, and you just start singing. Like, that's what.
I have sung for a couple of clients that say, "Oh, I know you can sing."
So I'm
let
not
me hear you.
that. Right. Yeah. So that wasn't. I'm like, Lord, because I'm like, I can visualize it. Okay, so now we're going to combine. That's a good segue. My eyes are burning. We're going to combine that singing and tax preparing. Okay, you got your Southern Fried Soul, and now you're having the Liberty Soul stage.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of soul going on over here.
Yeah.
The Liberty, tell the people how, well, Liberty is where you're located.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the Liberty Soul stage that you guys are opening, starting. Tell my eyes are burning. I'm sorry. Tell people talk about that. What is that? Like what?
So, what happened? Well, actually, this was all born out of COVID, honestly. Before COVID ever even hit Sullivan County, upstate New York at all, I was like, it's coming. It's coming. It's getting closer. And I kept saying that.
What, the stage? The stage
No,
thing?
the COVID was coming closer and closer. And I
Yes.
said to my brother Caesar, I said, if COVID hits and it comes here, we're not going to be able to perform. COVID hit. So he said, so build yourself a stage and have your own music. So I was like, all right, you're going to build it for me? He said, yeah. So
I think I passed by there once and y'all were out there singing. I think I passed by there during the summer. Were you guys out there singing this
yeah,
summer?
we've actually been open. This will be our third season open. The first one was only for the last month of the summer. Last year we didn't do a lot, but we did do some. And then this year I hope to do even more. So, but he said he would build the stage for me. So I bought an old hay wagon and had it brought over to my office. He worked every weekend that summer until the beginning of August. And he had the stage ready by the beginning of August. We opened the first weekend of August. And we did 4 shows. We did 4 weekends. We did shows on the stage. And then we closed it down for the season because it is outdoors.
Okay.
But he put in so much work. He didn't charge me for anything. He just charged me for the we just paid for the materials, and he built me a stage. And that's how that came about. So now we have fun and finances all on the same lot.
On the same property, right? And you have and for those that don't know, your hot dog cart. I was driving past. I was trying to figure out what to eat for lunch. Like I'm like real picky. I didn't know what I wanted for lunch, and I drove past and I didn't pay it any attention at first till I went into the town. And I don't want pizza. I don't want Chinese food. I don't want McDonald's. I don't want none of that. So I got an attitude, and I'm driving back to work. I'm like, wait a minute, Laura and them got a hot dog cart. That's when I came. That was the best lunch. I think hot dog carts are like the best thing ever.
Oh, me too. I love hot dog carts.
Now, do you get a lot of business?
Well, again, I only started it the last month of the summer. I was only out there for about a month.
Okay.
So I didn't really make a lot of money. Plus, it costs a lot to get it started. You have to have the insurance and you have to have licenses and things like that.
For a hot dog cart?
Oh, yeah. You have to have liability insurance in case somebody gets sick. You have to have
a bad hot dog. Oh my!
Yeah, you have to have a vendor's license. You have to go through the Department of Health. It's like a whole thing.
Department of Health for a hot dog cart? Not a truck. This is a cart.
Yeah, nope. You also have to have what they call a commissary, which is like a kitchen that you're allowed to use. That has water that is approved by the Department of Health. Like it's a whole thing. So it cost a lot to set it up.
Right.
So we didn't actually make a profit on it last year, but we were only open like 6 weekends or something like that, 5 weekends or whatever. But people are already asking me, when are you bringing the hot dog cart out? When are you getting the hot dog cart? When are you bringing that? So I'm assuming that this year it'll pick up. Plus, one thing feeds the other. So you have like right now I'm doing taxes. So when people are in doing taxes, one of the questions I ask them is, do you want to be on the list to be notified what we're doing on the state?
Okay. You're going in and out. Okay. Could you repeat that? Laura.
Do you know what I mean?
Wait, repeat that. No, wait, you froze.
I'm sorry.
Wait, you froze. So no. It froze when you said when you're doing taxes, you notified them. What was that part again?
So when you come into my office to do your tax return, one of the things I do is I ask the person, do you want to be on the list to be notified about what's going on the stage? So now you have a calling list or an emailing list of how many people from Sullivan County that want to know what's going on the stage. So that should up the amount of people that come to the shows.
Right.
At the shows, you're going to have the hot dog cart. The hot dog cart is going to be out there when the shows are not and when the office is closed for taxes. So when the people come for hot dogs, would you like to know about the stage? Are you interested? We have taxes here. So one feeds the other. So I'm
Good.
hoping, like, nothing is like taking off. The taxes pay my bills. That's all it does, is pay my bills. But the other two haven't taken off. They've actually lost
Well, they
money.
just
But I
started.
mean,
They just
they're
started.
startups, right?
Right.
So, but I'm hoping that this year, again, this year we don't. Last year we tried to charge for tickets for the shows.
Mhm.
People don't want to pay for music, and I don't know why, but people don't want to pay for music.
Mhm.
So this year we're doing free shows, but then if you want food, you have to pay for that.
Right. Well,
So, so we would have, like, when you go to eventbrite.com and you look for Liberty Soul Stage, and it will you can buy tickets. It'll be a free ticket for the show, or a ticket with a hot dog meal for a certain amount of money, or a ticket with a pulled pork meal, or whatever we have that time.
uh-huh.
So you can buy tickets, and then we're going to ask for donations. I'm in the process of trying to make the stage a not-for-profit. I'm trying to get my not-for-profit status, and then that way we can get grants to pay the musicians, so that we can get more people in there
I don't know why you're starting to go in and out.
and not have to charge for tickets. It's hard to pay. Like, you're back now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're like going in and out. Yeah, I can hear you.
So you get a band in there, and you don't want them to. You can't expect them to play for nothing.
Right.
So people don't want to pay for tickets. How do you pay the band? Do you know what
But
I mean?
the band, they know this though, right?
They don't what?
They know this, right? That you can't pay them.
Well, last
Well,
year what we did was they knew that they were getting paid whatever the ticket sales were. So if
okay.
we sold $40 worth of tickets, that's what you got. If we
Okay.
sold $100 worth of tickets, that's what you got. So you'd have to have your own following in order to actually make something off
Oh,
of the
to get the
stage.
crowd. Right,
Yeah.
right,
Right.
right.
Which it didn't do bad at all. I mean, they got paid, and then I made a couple of dollars off of the food, but it cost so much to run the stage and stuff that it was actually a loss in the long run,
Mhm.
But I think it'll pick up. I'm hoping it'll pick up. I don't see why not.
Right. I don't see why not either. I mean, you got a lot. You got a lot going on that property. You got you got a lot going on. But like I said, when I passed by that one time, I saw the hot dog cart. Passed by another time, you were singing, and there were people out there.
Yes.
People, especially now during COVID, they like outdoor events where they feel, they're not
Right.
crowded or whatever. But you're right. People don't like to pay. I mean, economy is kind of jacked up right now. But you got to think about you guys, which you're giving your all and everything. So at least if they're not going to buy food, they can give donations, like a
Right.
donation pot. Now that's not tax, right? Because it's cash, right?
What is
It's
it?
like tip. I said that's not taxed, right?
Well, when you're running a business, donations are income. Yes.
What?
Yes. Any money that you make, if you come to my house and I pay you $20 to do my hair.
For those that, I used to braid her and the moms and daughters' hair. I used to braid.
But if even that really is supposed to be, any money that you make is supposed to be reported as income. Yes.
But that's really messed up because some people are doing side hustles to try to survive, and the government trying to come in and take their little bit of money.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like a tip, like tips. If you have a tip jar, why do you
taxable.
have to? That's frick. So I don't think I want to go to a tax preparer. You might stress me all the way up. Can't, man. Wow. Did
Yeah,
you make money doing
don't
this?
get me wrong. Do people report it and pay taxes on it? Normally they don't. But
Mhm.
as a tax preparer, I try to do things the right way. So if we get tips, it gets put in. Tips for the band goes to the band, and they should pay taxes on it. But I'm not their keeper, so I don't know what they do with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you come to the show and you say, here's a $20 donation, that becomes income to the business, because it's still income. If you're not for profit, then it's not taxable. And that's
Okay.
part of the reason. And now that's different though. That $20 that you gave me as a donation is income to me. It's my money.
Right.
That $20 that you give as a donation to a not-for-profit is nobody's money. It stays in that business, and that business uses that money to expand, but it all goes back into the business and there is no tax. So that's what I'm trying to do it that way. That way I won't make any money off of it. It's not like I would make money off of that, but at least we would have a place for the local musicians to perform, get paid, and actually make some money, because you don't make money performing. You just don't, you know.
So it wouldn't just be then for Southern Fried Soul, then the band, then the
Oh
stage would
no,
be for,
absolutely not.
oh, okay,
No, no,
okay.
no. Don't get me wrong. It's my stage, so I
Right.
definitely do a show or two over the
You
summer.
run things. Right.
But no, the whole point of this stage was to give the local musicians a place to perform.
Okay. All right.
And not only that, but we want to open it up to visual artists, like people who are painters and drawing and sculptors. We want to do like art shows and stuff on the lawn. I would love to get some people together and do some children's stuff, so that you could have like a music class for children on the grass.
Oh,
You know what I
wow.
mean? I
Yeah.
would love to. So it's not for me. That's why I say I'm not looking to make a profit off of the stage. The stage is really for the community. And that's why I want to make it a not-for-profit, and hopefully one day be able to do all that stuff. You know, like I would love to do like music courses for like little kids, like toddlers
Uh-huh.
that can
Like
come
like
and
my Emma, 5 years old.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's great to get them started early. It's so
Right.
cool.
Wow.
So
Oh, I love that. Utilize that property, girl. Utilize every space you got. Wow. That, I mean, like that's, I still can't get over it. So when people, okay, let's say they're braiding hair out of their living room, right?
right.
Do they got to get a receipt? Like you got to have a receipt book or something? Like how can you prove that you made this amount?
So really you should have a bank account. So the
But what
money
if
should
it's going for gas? Like I'm gonna braid your hair and I need to get some gas and dinner for the next 2 days or whatever. Take my kids to McDonald's or whatever. So what?
it
It's
should
not
be
going in no bank.
deposited. It
You know
should be
that's
deposited, and then you could take it right back out because it's your money.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
still oh my. You
I
know
mean, you don't
what?
have to. You can keep a
Right.
set of books. You can keep a book that says I made this much on this date. I spent this much on supplies. I spent this much on postage. I made another sale over here, and you can do it on paper and keep track. They would rather you have a bank account because then they can look at it
Well,
and
yeah, that's what I find now with Tea Time. You know, like I
yeah,
have, the stuff, everything is separate. I'm learning to, you know, Tea Time. I don't get paid for this mess, but it
right.
costs. Well, not mess. I love my Tea Time,
No, I
but
know what you mean.
the thing it costs me. Like I gotta make sure I have the internet. I have to make sure I pay for this platform. The equipment and different things like that. All this stuff costs money. It's
Absolutely.
like so. I want can you charge off your electric bill like Tea Time with Bunky? See, I got these lights going on. I got all it. So I'm just curious, can you charge this?
So yeah,
I'm talking about for next year. Next year,
you can. What happens is like you're working out of your home. So what you do is you would keep track of all the expenses in your home. And all the expenses, the internet, the phone, the electric, the gas, the heat, all your expenses you keep track of. At the end of the year, you use a percentage of that. So if you're, and I'm throwing out stupid numbers just to make it easy to understand. You have 100 square foot apartment. You use 10 square foot of it for your business. That's only for business, like what area you use just to do your podcast and whatever it is. So say you have 10 square feet and you have 100 square. So that's 10% of your apartment is being used for your business. So 10% of your expenses can go as an expense towards your business.
Oh wow,
Yep.
okay. Because something got to give. If you paying for, if I gotta pay the government for braiding somebody's hair, which I don't do anymore, actually.
Right.
That was younger days. But if I gotta, no, I don't think it's fair. Then somebody giving me something back. I'm I want something.
Usually, well, for something like that, usually your expenses eat up most of your profit. And then
Absolutely,
when
whatever.
you've done, any tax that you paid is actually self-employment tax. So if you make $5,000 doing hair and you spent $3,000 in supplies and your cell phone and
Right, right.
things like that. Say you spent $3,000 in expenses, you got $5,000 in income, you have a $2,000 profit. On that $2,000 profit, if that's the only income you have, there's no federal or state tax on that. But there is self-employment tax. So if you work for me, I take out of your check Social Security and Medicare, right?
Right.
So I take Social Security and Medicare. So say I take 10 and 5, so 15 from your check. I have to match that as your employer. So 15 doesn't go into the government, 30 does. And that's your Social Security and Medicare for when you retire. If you're self-employed, you don't have an employer to take that up to pay the other half. So you have to pay both halves. So on that $2,000, all you're paying is Social Security and Medicare. It all goes into your retirement fund.
Right.
So you may pay some taxes on it, but it's your money for when you retire.
And then you don't even live to retire. So all so what is going on?
By the time we're old enough to collect,
I
there
guess
won't
it's
be
the
any Social
thought.
Security left.
Exactly. Like that. I'm like, the way things are going, by the time I retire, it's not gonna be anything. And I done gave all this money away. Shoot, could have bought an outfit. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know.
Could have gotten a new pair of glasses or something.
Hello. Talking about, so I can at least see the government taking advantage of me. Like, come on. It's like, it's crazy. Okay. But no, I thank you for that information because I had no idea. I had no idea. I still, next year I have to come and I'll go to you. I'm not going to anybody else. I have to because now I have this little thing going on, which not little because I love my tea time. So
Oh no, I think it's awesome.
thank you. This is my this is my outlet right here. So I have to make sure it's taken care of and I'm not doing anything wrong. Do I like it? No. Not one bit. I don't like it at all. I'm gonna have an attitude. Probably the month I have to start. The whole month I'm gonna be mad. But like, I buy a lot of things. People buy a lot of things now on Amazon, right? So what do we do? Like print up the receipts? Like, do you have people printing up like Amazon receipts and bringing them to you?
Mm-hmm.
Does that old cliche thing that we used to see on TV back in the day when people would come in with the shoebox full of receipts? Do they still do that, or is it electronic?
Do you know that people bring me shoe boxes of receipts? I used to take them. And help the clients out and do that, but we don't do bookkeeping. So now you bring me that box of receipts. That's your bookkeeping. You should have been doing that all year long, right? So they bring me this box of receipts and I used to sit for hours and dig through their receipts and figure out what's taxable. I mean, what's deductible and what's not deductible. And I don't do that anymore. I'm like, no, sorry, I can't take your receipts. I need totals.
So when you say bookkeeping, so they have a notebook, basically, write this stuff down, the receipts, the total. Is it like that? Or, well, you don't even have to write stuff down. Like everything is computerized now. You can do it in your phone.
So you can use like a QuickBooks program or Quicken. It's just a bookkeeping program. You enter your stuff and it keeps track of it for you.
And now you could take a picture and it goes right into the spot.
Yep.
I see. So it's
and it's those scanned pictures like that. They even the programs even know like what category to put it in.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll scan it in and the program will say, okay, well, that's postage because it came from a post office. Or you mark, you have to kind of teach it. So you'll tell it anytime you buy Amazon, it's supplies. You know what I mean? Or if it's from, I don't know, from the hair place, then it's supplied. Like you tell the program what it's for. And then when you scan those receipts, it just automatically puts it in the right category.
and then they could just bring it to you or do a printout and be like, here you go. But if you still want the box to prove it, here's the box and here's the
Right.
electronic.
Yep.
Dog, that must be crazy. Look, I got a headache really thinking about it. Like, this is crazy. So let me ask you, do you love now what you do? Are you happy?
Oh, I'm very happy. Do I love doing taxes? No, I don't. That's not, I never, that was not my dream, was to be a tax preparer.
The
But
enemy tax preparer.
being self-employed is
Mhm.
definitely a dream of
Yeah.
mine. So I do like the thought of being self-employed. I like the freedom. I do love doing taxes because it's, even though we do taxes year round, the bulk of it is done by April 15th, and I can pretty much do whatever I want after that, which opens up my time for the stage and for the hot dog
Same.
cart, so we can
Right.
have food, fun, and finances all on the same property.
like and you know what I love about it? What I love about it is it's easily accessible. It's right there on 52. You can't miss it.
Right.
You don't have to drive all nothing against like the Bethel Woods and stuff. Those places are gorgeous. But you have to have a car to get deep down in there.
Yes. Yeah.
But people that don't really have that, and I mean, it's not like you're in the center of town or nothing like that, but people can walk to you.
Right.
And so that makes it, I like that part. You're there. People cannot miss you. They can't miss you. Like
Mm-hmm.
I thank God for that hot dog cart of that day because I was hungry. Stomach was kicking me in the back. Let me tell you, I was I was like really hungry. Okay. Listen, we have 4 minutes. Told you this hour is gonna go fast. We have 4 minutes. So I want you to tell people what to expect. Like, where do you see this vision? Because it's a vision, and you got to speak it out into existence. What you have, your non for profit, and all the little things you want to do. You got to speak that stuff out. Which you have. So, like in 5 years, where do you see? What do you think you would have accomplished in those 5 years?
I'm hoping to have a very busy season in the summer times for the stage, because I think it'll be great for the community. So I would like to have a
Would.
not-for-profit up and running so that we can provide a safe place for people to perform or to show their art or to do their dancing, whatever it is that people want to do. I
Right.
would love for them to just utilize the space for whatever makes people happy.
Right.
And with the not-for-profit, I would like to grow it enough so that we could have the lessons for children and give out music lessons or have art shows and things like that, while I'm making a couple dollars off of the hot dog cart and staying nice and warm in my office during tax season and doing
Mhm.
taxes. So I'm hoping to make money year round and still have the not-for-profit.
What I love about all of this is when I always talk about regular people, you're a regular person. You're like, you've accomplished all this and you're a regular person. You're a me. I can
Mhm.
relate to you.
Right.
So you're relatable. Like that's what I love about this whole situation. You
Well,
didn't you
thank you.
talk about your background. You didn't come from money. All this stuff wasn't given to you. You worked for everything you had.
Yes.
And it is so commendable. It is so
Well,
commendable.
thank you.
And you do it while you're singing. Like busting out notes. Bust- I'm telling you, y'all had to be there to be like Laura sing. And you must have been like soothing people. I don't know what was going on. But your room, you was always singing, Laura. You was
Yeah.
always singing. Yeah. You had to make fun out of it. Now, people, 1 minute left. If people want to now, can they book your stage or
Oh,
not
sure.
yet? They can. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
how would they do that? Do they call a tax place? How
Yeah,
do
they
they
would
reach out to you?
I only keep the one phone number. So yeah, it would be the tax office they would call.
And what is that number?
That's 845-292-0065.
And that is Atkins Garone Tax.
Mm-hmm.
Texas. Okay. And that is located on
We also have
1864.
a digital sign out front.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes.
I mean, you can't
We
miss
have a
it.
digital sign out front we use for the taxes during tax season, but I also put the upcoming shows on there as well for the summertime.
Uh-huh. And I can't stress how they can't miss it. You cannot miss it. You can't miss it. So all right. Laura, thank you. Thank you so much for this show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed
Thank
it.
you. You know you've always been one of my favorite people.
And you thank you. And you and your mom and the kids, so shout out to the kids. Yes, my
Yeah,
Teresa,
thank
I see
you.
her. You're welcome. I love and appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
next year for the taxes. Oh my God, I'll see you next year. Um,
Okay.
we'll be watching, sharing,
Well, I'm gonna
sharing
make come
the
out and see
event.
one of the shows at least.
Yeah, but me and them bugs. I'm not an outdoorsy person. Me
We'll
and the
get you. We'll
bugs
get.
and
We'll
the
put you in one of the
birds.
tents with the screens on it.
Oh God.
We'll put you in a screened-in
Sit in the
tent.
car. Okay, we'll see what we can do because I am not an outdoorsy person. I tell you, I
Yeah.
can't do it. But I'll support you. I'll
Okay. Sounds
support
good to
you.
me.
All right. Well, you have a great night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Tea Time with Bunky. There is not a political Tuesday this week coming up. Next Thursday is Lynn from Intent Candles. She makes candles, and I have it didn't work because I did it wrong. She got to tell me how to use it. This is Intent Candles for Love. You really can't see it. All kind of it smells so good and stuff, but it didn't work for me because I did it wrong. But she's gonna talk about it. And it's not just it's all manifestations, candles or whatever. She's gonna be amazing. She's next week, next Thursday at 7 p.m. So you guys make sure to mark your calendars and I will see you and I appreciate you. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Watch after the fact because people can tune in and watch even though you missed the live, but you can watch it after. So you guys tune in and make sure you share. Go to Laura Garone, tax preparer, Liberty, New York, well, on Broadway on 52, and you can hear her sing. She got big plans. Help support her, and make her dreams come true. So you guys have a wonderful night. Say bye, Laura.